Hello everybody, welcome back to another video of mine, and today we're going to be looking at the history of the Chuck E. Cheese's in Fairfield, California. Now, I already did this history back in my 100 subscriber special, but the only reasons why I'm doing this is because I missed out on a few things, and also because I really didn't like how I speak in that video. So today I'm deciding to remake this and going back to where it all started. This store might have one of the most unique traits to it, both stage-wise and game room-wise. Anyways, let's jump into the history of Fairfield. So back in 1983, a Chuck E. Cheese's Pizza Time Theater will open at the 1027 Oliver Road, Fairfield, California location. This store would open as a franchise store, though I can't find out who the owner of the store was until around 2021. Although I did heard that this was the same franchisee who owned the old Redding, California location. Also, this could be just a rumor, but apparently there were decisions on whether or not Fairfield opening as a showbiz pizza place or a Chuck E. Cheese's, but it was a final decision to open as a Pizza Time Theater due to the space of the store not being big enough for a showbiz around the time. Anyways, there's really no exact date on when Fairfield opened. This store will open with the common, at the time, balcony stage. There's also no information on what their cabaret character could have been, but looking at this photo from their opening, they could have had Dolly Dimples as their cabaret character. She would have been removed later on. As for the stage, they probably would have opened with Madame Monk around the time, but since she was a retired guest star during that time, Helen could have been there for their opening since, again, we don't know exactly what their date of opening was. The stage would also be located in front of the store. In 1989, the store would convert the balcony stage into the C stage due to the next remodel, which was the 1986 SPT remodel program. They will also receive a new exterior, games that I cannot name, new pieces of wall art, and they will move the C stage to the left side of the store. Although the C stage only lasted for 4 years, because around 1993 they will finally receive the 2 stage, replacing the former C stage. Interestingly, they will still keep the 1986 remodel, which included keeping the flag wavers, the blue valance, and also the clapperboard. One of the interesting things they kept around this time was this art piece of all the Pizza Time Theater characters on a filming tape. I didn't even know the 1986 remodel had this type of art. This photo also shows the newer 90s head for Chuck, with some unique blue vest outfit with a bow tie in the middle. Here is the earliest video of Fairfield around the time, around 1990 or something, where a live show was happening. The walk-around costume around the time would be the Tux outfit with the Pizza Time Theater head. Although, in the same video, they also seem to have the Jasper and Munch walk-around costumes too. I'm not sure what year they stopped using these two costumes later on though it could be the late 90s. In 1993, Fairfield will finally get the Phase 3 remodel that included getting the record posters, artifact shelves, removing the blue valance, and including the clapperboard, along with the Pizza Time Theater artwork, and getting the Phase 3 exterior with the red and yellow awnings. Also, this Phase 3 exterior sign is so small, I wouldn't be surprised if it was just a part of the showroom sign used here. Jasper would still retain his Pizza Time Theater hat, and Helen and Munch would receive new masks. They will also receive the 1995 version of the car ride, although this version will be replaced later on with the Rockstar version. The store would have stayed the same around this time, except for the stage around the early 2000s, where Jasper and Pasquale's Pizza Time Theater masks will be replaced with newer masks. Chuck's tuxedo outfit will be replaced with the Cool Chuck outfit, like in this photo taken around the early 2000s, although he is covered up by balloons, but it's pretty telling that he had the Cool Chuck outfit around the time. Although this was short-lived though, and will get replaced by the Avenger outfit. In 2009, the store would receive the 2005 remodel, which involved replacing the older art to replace it with newer art, removing the showrooms, add newer games, and finally the Phase 3 exterior will be replaced with the Phase 4 exterior and awnings. They also seem to expand their price counter to having 2 sides for the prizes. The Avenger costume will also be used during the early 2000s. They will also remove their pulpits and replace them with the new sky tubes. The curtains on the stage will also be disabled around this time. As the 2010s came around, things started to get a little bit weird for Fairfield's location, at least for the stage firstly. A video in 2011 took place in the showroom. The stage is in the background of the video, but with the footage being blurry, it's kind of hard to tell what condition they're in, but it's kind of telling that the stage wasn't getting any repairs around the time. Also, I heard that this store had a technician that worked on the bots but left in the early 2000s, leaving the stage to take a massive downfall. More footage of the stage comes from Christmas of 2012, where the bots are in horrible condition, at least for mechanical wise. All of them seem to be left with very limited action, with only 1 or 3 movements working. On that being noted, the lights also seem to be broken as well. Noticeably, Jasper's guitar and hat will also be missing around this time. Strangely, around this time, they would have placed LED light bulbs inside the make-believe and neon sign, which were not only not being programmed and left on loop, but also was a strange thing for the store to do. But I mean, at the same time, the store was a franchise, so yeah. This store would also be noted for having footage of that infamous meme of Chuck being cross-eyed in 2013. I was honestly surprised when I found out that this footage came from Fairfield, not gonna lie. The stage is, of course, still in bad shape, but around May 2013, they seem to get a few more fixes. But I mean, examples are like Helen's body turn. Speaking of body turns, all of the bots seem to retain their Pizza Time Theater movements, like Helen and Chuck's arm swing, including Munch and Pasquale's body turns still being unlocked. As 2014 came around, the stage started to get worse and sort of better, like Chuck's eyes, right arm, and Jasper's eyelids being adjusted, for example. Other than that, Munch's teeth would be chipped off and then gone later on. The lights would also seem to get worse during this time, and Chuck's cap was removed by early 2014. Also, the Rockstar costume would have started being used here as well. Thankfully, around 2015, the stage would finally get some repairs that would fix most of the bots and some of the lights, mostly in Jasper, with Pasquale not moving at all besides his mouth and later on his mustache. Also, I am not sure if this is true, but apparently one of the techs from the other Northern California stores came to this store to fix most parts of the stage. One of them most likely came from the Dublin, San Bruno, Newark, or one of the Sacramento stores. Anyways, they'll fix parts of the stage, such as the majority of the floodlights, both of Jasper's strumming arms, Helen and Jasper's eyes, but both of their eye signals would be reversed, Munch's arm cylinders, and Chuck's eyelids. Speaking of that, Chuck's hat would return during this refurb. Helen's spotlight would be in sync with the floodlights, but stop working later on, though. Oddly enough, a one-stage fiber sign would be placed beside Helen, which would be left unprogrammed. The sign would probably come from a nearby store in California. We're not sure though. As for what happened with around the store, they most likely removed the sky tubes around 2015 while the stage was getting fixed. Their games will also be moved around during this time, but I'll hold on about the game room later since there are more unique games to come in Fairfield's later years. At least things started to get better for the stage, and what seemed to be the only time of their lifespans to be at least in decent condition. But then 2017 came around, and things started to get a lot worse, for the stage at least, being in worse shape than back in 2014. Chuck's movements started to get very choppy. Helen completely broken except for her head movement, including her arms that were broken and extremely dirty. Munch only moving his hands. Pascal is probably at worst for just being turned off during this year, and barely any of the spotlights and floodlights work. Jasper was the only one to be in good shape besides his eyelids. Also, his eyes continue to be reversed when looking at the bots. What a massive downgrade! Like, I know Fairfield is a franchise store, but I'm just still surprised of how worse it got, and just in the span of like 2 years. Things only got worse for the stage, with the Cyberstar not being able to let the bots perform in 2018, so during this time they would be left on random mode. Aside for the stage for a while, here are some things about the game room that are pretty interesting. In 2018 or 2019, they would receive this unique version of the Chuck E. Cheese water game, which I think was one of the only stores to have this type of water game. If you guys know what other locations that had this unique water game, comment down below. I would like to know other stores that had this. They will also have this unique version of the ski ball, which was the blue version, and had other unique games like claw machines and Mario Kart. And most of these unique games could also be found in San Jose in Tully Road, California. This would make sense though, since both of these stores were owned by the same franchisee. The ticket blaster will also move from the side of the stage to this corner of the showroom. Interestingly, they have this photo of the kitchen that showed that they kept the Phase 3 checkers even when they remodeled to Phase 4. Adding to that, I'm not sure if this applies to other locations, but I remember this cotton candy stand right next to the price counter where they will make cotton candy. They will have extra cotton candy bags next to them. The stage wouldn't get any better in 2019 with the bots completely turned off. The bot's cosmetics started to show wear, especially in Helen's arm, with her mech being exposed and broken. Her cosmetics will also be ripped around the arms. Speaking of Helen, I remember this one time I went to Fairfield with my family and saw the stage with Helen's hand off her arm, although her hand was on the stage even when it fell off. Because of that, I was scared of Helen around that time. Sadly, on January 5th, 2021, the store would close, due to the franchise owner having decisions on being able to keep Fairfield open, but had another decision to keep Tully Road open, leaving Fairfield to close. The posters, the prizes, and importantly, the animatronics were taken out of the store. However, the games will still remain. Why is that? Because after a few months, the store would reopen as a different chain as GameX Pizza and Arcades. I won't talk about this brand too much since the game room pretty much stayed the same, although the stage will be left empty with no boss or backgrounds for the stage. Most of the walls that had the artwork in it were all blank, with both of the price counters being repurposed. So, what happened to the bots? Well, Chuck and Jasper were sent to private collectors, though I'm not sure who owns them today, as I can't find information on who owns them right now. While Munch and possibly Pascoli were passed on to different private collectors until they were saved by Corey from Iron Blast Toys and Video Games in Washington, Pennsylvania. Munch is in the process of being fixed up while also having a hole in the back of his head, and Pascoli's already been fixed up and he is in way better condition than Fairfield's later years. Also, Corey also has other related Chuck E. Cheese stuff, like these two Repta tokens for good luck, which, fun fact, there's actually two versions of these tokens, which had 2 dots and the 3 dot versions, and also Chuck E. Cheese Tux era related stuff. I feel the passion, I know that it has the power, with every note I hear, it takes me up to a place where I've never been. Also, during Munch being preserved, it also reveals that he kept his Pizza Time Theater mech valves, which proves that this bot and all the other bots were Pizza Time Theater. As for Helen, we're not really sure where she is right now, but she's most likely destroyed, although I wouldn't be surprised because of how terrible she was in her later years. It's kind of unconfirmed who saved the wing or the other props, but I'm happy that most of the bots were able to find new homes to get refurbished, even though Helen or some of the others were unconfirmed. And I'm hoping that Munch would be able to perform again with Pasquale soon. So now, we're going back to what's happening with Fairfield. During Game X's being a replacement, didn't do as well as Chuck E. Cheese's. Coincidentally, in July of 2022, the store would convert back to Chuck E. Cheese's. now as a 2.0 store. Why did they reopen as a Chuck E. Cheese's again? I'm not sure, but I guess Game X wasn't doing any good compared to Chuck E. Cheese. Also, the store reopened as a corporate-owned store now, meaning they'll remodel most of the store to what most of their other stores had. They will face the video wall in front of the store, like how they did with the balcony stage, added a dance floor, painted gray stripes on the walls, getting newer games, although keeping the blue version of the skee ball, and some of the other games, I think. They will also add the character posters on both sides of the video wall, adding newer generic art, shortening the price counter back to one side, and painting the exterior green with the new logo, but they will also keep the unique red awnings on both of the sides. Also, during their reopening, they also seem to bring the Helen and Pasquale walkarounds, the rock star costumes, of course, though I doubt that they still use them today. Also, you could tell that Fairfield was once a Pizza Time theater due to the layout of the store, if you ever visited it. Also, I'm pretty sure they already installed the new trampoline zone, though I can't confirm that since I haven't been to Fairfield in like 6 or 7 years, I think. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they will install the trampoline zone. And as of 2025, the store would remain like this. And that's the history of Fairfield, California. I know it's a shame that this store no longer has the animatronics, just like 75% of locations in the US. And also the fact that the animatronics were in terrible shape in their later years. But honestly, having a Chuck E. Cheese near you as a 2.0 store is way better than having a store being closed. And I'm thankful that Fairfield is here to stay, even without the bots. Anyways, that's about it for the history of Fairfield, California. If you guys have any suggestions on what locations I should do, then comment down below and I might do a video on it, even though it takes a while for me to do the scripts. Anyways, I'll see you in my next video. Bye, everybody.